lows, no, I cannot take a loss at all.
At all.
Let me put you up on game, it ain't all about the fame at all. They talking down on my name, trying to put me to shame, that's all.
That's all.
Might be in the Hall of Fame, I can be like you lames.
Never will I lose when I'm doing what I choose. Many streams of revenues, instruction for the crews. Motivated by success, no disturbing the peace. Only one eye in chief position held by me. Keeping it player as can be. If you understanding me, grind for the currency. Welcome back. Like we always do about this time, my name is Cornbread Capone. This is Unpopular Honesty, season number 2. You know what I'm saying? We back on the slab once again, man. You know what I'm saying? First of all, before we even get started, shout out to everybody that's been watching, subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing the content, enjoying the content. Thank you very much. You know what I'm saying? And tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. Normally this show is about hip-hop and I'm talking about hip-hop, but I have some talking points that I've taken the liberty of writing down that have very little to do with music. You know what I'm saying? First things first, we're going to start off, I'm going to talk about distractions. You hear that a lot. People say, yeah, that was a distraction. And it seems like black people are easily distracted. No disrespect, but just stating the obvious. We get distracted by things that should not distract us. And the things that we need to be concerned about are the things that nobody talks about. Nobody mentions. Nobody says nothing about it. And that's interesting to me. You know, it was years ago, when I had to sit down and seriously take a look at myself. This had nothing to do with music, more so had to do with me personally as a man. Realizing that I had gotten to a point in life that I didn't think I was going to get to. Realizing how far I came, how mature I am, how I didn't let none of the stigmas or stereotypes provide a cloud over my head. Some people like to call it enlightenment. Some people call it woke. I believe I was always that. It's just maybe it took some maturity and some growth to actually get to that point. And when I got to that point, I realized that a lot of people, a lot of us are being distracted purposely. And it's being purposely done. It's not something that happens on accident. This is purposely being done because this represents the agenda that certain people are trying to push. There are people in the world who benefit when black people get distracted. There are people who get rich, filthy rich, when black people get distracted. I'm not going to go any deeper than that. All I'm going to say is, don't believe in everything you hear. Don't believe in every story you read. Because we got to remember that media is a very divisive tool. A tool that people use to show a certain image of certain people. Ever wonder why you look at the news and every time you see a black person, they're either dead or in jail, it's nothing positive? There's a reason why that happens. It's all in the agenda that they're pushing. Just don't allow yourself to be distracted, is what I'm telling y'all. You know, because a lot of people get captivated and get lost and caught up real quick off a simple distraction. Don't allow certain things to distract you. If you notice, when something happens that involves the black community usually talks about it for a couple of days, usually the week at the most. Back when Will Smith and Chris Rock had their little debacle earlier this year, I was surprised that it became such a talking point that people talked about it long after it had happened. And I'm saying to myself, wow. You know, and I'm talking about literally every site you get on, no matter just one, it was all of them. This was an ongoing conversation long after it happened. So, just don't allow yourself to be distracted, man. You know what I'm saying? Well, let's go and get into it. What we don't talk about. What we don't talk about is how to better ourselves. What we don't talk about is self-improvement. What we don't talk about is healthy relationships. What we don't talk about is positive images being shown and enforced in our community. What we don't talk about is health, eating properly, exercising. What we don't talk about is books. Somebody said to me, man, that if you want to hide something from a nigga, you put it in a book. And boy, when I heard that, man, that hit me so hard, because I'm going to be honest right now. There was a point in time where I wouldn't read no books unless it said Source, Vibe, or XXL, Murder Dog, Right On, Word Up, anything that had to do with music, in particular rap. So all I read was rap magazines. But when I heard that saying about hide something from a nigga, put it in a book, it made me start reading books. And the benefits of reading books, not only do you learn more, but if you're an artist, it expands your mind, broadens your horizons, you know, extends your vocabulary. Kind of opens up a new door for you as an artist. But just as a person, reading books, learning things, that stimulates the mind. That's something else that we don't talk about. See, there's all this low vibrational intake, reality television, lowered IQ music, then the settings where they're around, probably somewhere toxic, or a club, or some type of gathering where people are reflecting off of what they're listening to and what they're watching. So, if we're trying to do better for ourselves and for our children, I would think that some of the things that we need to discuss would be a lot of those points. I mean, without your health being in tip-top shape, you're not going to be here. And that's a reality. So we need to stop eating the things that shorten our life. We should eat more healthier. Try the fruits, try the vegetables, try the salads. A lot of us don't have time to exercise, but we should find a way to prioritize that. It should be a way where you can relegate an hour to go to the gym, or maybe go to the park, walk the track, shoot some ball, something physical. So we need to talk about what's more important: designer clothes or investments, savings, stocks and bonds, buying land. So what's more important to you? Designer clothes that loses value when you walk out the store with it, or land, or things that appreciate with value after you possess them? Yeah, see, this is the type of conversation that doesn't go on in the black community, but it needs to. You know what I'm saying? For quite some time, there has been this conversation that has been called many things. Some people call it a gender war. Other people say men versus women. Everybody's quick to point out and pinpoint a problem, which obviously there is a problem. But what we don't hear is a solution. We don't hear a resolution. We just hear what we're being accused of, and men at the same time, we accuse women of whatever, whoop-de-whoop, and we both pointing the fingers at each other. But there's no solutions going on. There's very few of us who are trying to get to a peaceful resolution to this problem. I don't know the resolution or the solution to the problem. I'm going to be honest with you, because honestly, I didn't start this. You know, it's almost like, one day I woke up and all of a sudden, this shit was going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, out of nowhere, like, everything was cool, everything was fine, and all of a sudden, boom, there you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it happened, and I can't really tell you why. I do know that it is crazy out here in these modern days and times, because value has left the building. Common sense is no longer a factor. There, to a certain degree, there are no rules. There's no step-by-step playbook. When people say these things like there's levels to this, I don't think this generation understands what levels are. Because everything is 0 to 100. Everything is hop, skip, and a jump. Everything. You know what I'm saying? And when you're talking about relationships, it has to be levels. It has to be order. Anything without order is destined to fail. And that's what people don't realize. Anything without order is destined to fail. For women out there who are seeking a certain man, men of value, men of substance, understand that men of value and men of substance come with rules. If you're not prepared to deal with that, by all means, go find you a Pookie and Ray Ray. I really, it's so much deeper we can go with that conversation, but I'm going to leave it right there where it is. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to dig too deeper into that. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about that for the remainder of the show, actually. But I hope at the end of the day, for the betterment of our children, and for the sake of those who wish to bring children into the world, that we can find a way to talk and get rid of this problem, get to the solutions, so that we can get back to being the kings and queens we once were. You know, yeah, man. Well, let's get back to another controversial talking point. And that would be accountability. I mean, if I could say what one thing is lacking in this world today, it's accountability. And I can be honest and say that the world is lacking accountability. See, these modern days and times, everything has flipped. Back in the day, you know, being a stand-up guy, being someone who is respected in the community was like a badge of honor. Well, today, being a hoe ass nigga is considered a badge of honor now. The rules have changed. The game flipped. Everything that it used to be, it's the opposite today. If we had accountability, none of that would be going on. If we had accountability, it would not be this so-called gender war or this man versus woman conversation that's been going on for far too long. If we had accountability, we would be honest about the things we watch with our eyes and the things we put into our ears. If there was accountability, maybe this young generation might have accountability for the things that they do. A lot of them are only mimicking what they've seen their whole life. And that boils down to what goes on in the house. So if this person has parents who lack accountability, how does he or she know what accountability is if their examples of that are not in the home? If we had accountability, we would not allow ourselves to be distracted by the things that distract us as a people. If we had accountability, it probably would be no black on black crime. It probably would be no drug selling. If we had accountability, black people would show up in record numbers to go vote. Black people would show up in record numbers to buy every book in the bookstore. Accountability it's something hard for a lot of people to swallow, so to speak. Some it's very hard. They fear it, they run from it. I've gotten to the point to where I can be honest about my situation. I wasn't always accountable myself. There was a time when I was young and I was wild and I really didn't care. And I can sit up here and honestly tell you that. Then God allowed me to grow up and become a man. And when I became a man, I had to sit back and think about how I conducted myself in the past. And I'm able to look back and be like, yeah, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe for that time period, okay. But I did some wild stuff. Said some wild stuff. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it I'm not proud of. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things that I did were really just for shock value. You know what I'm saying? Or just to have that reputation as just the person that just do anything. But as a man, you look at that and you say, well, you know, you chalk it up to being young. You chalk it up to, you know, just being wild and not really thinking about what you're doing. But when you become a man, I haven't made any of those mistakes again in my manhood. Very honest about what it is that I do and try my best not to fake it, because there's nothing fake about brutal honesty. Well, a partner of mine asked me this question, and I thought it was an interesting talking point. He said, what do you value more, love or loyalty? And it didn't take me long to answer this question. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like it was something I had to think about. I said loyalty. You know what I'm saying? Because people can say they love you all day long and then turn around and fuck you over slowly. You know what I'm saying? But if they're loyal to you, that means they're loyal in front of you and they're loyal when you're not around. That's something to me that you don't find everywhere. You can't go buy it. You can't clone it or manufacture it. It has to be in you as an individual, not on you, in you. So I said loyalty. And the homie was like, I understand that. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel the same way. So I posed that question to everybody that may be watching me right now. What do you value more, love or loyalty? And if you care to share, drop it in the comments. I would love to read it, and I would love to read your answer why you choose either love or loyalty. And it's something else I want to speak on that's been going on. I'm not going to mention the guy's name because I'm not going to mention his name on this platform. But it seems like people, black people, celebrate the downfall. They just celebrate the negative. You know what I mean? Like earlier this year, Kevin Samuels passed away, and there was a lot of black women who were happy. They were cheering as if this man was Adolf Hitler or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I had to sit back and think like, Kevin Samuels didn't kill nobody. He only killed the delusion that exists in you dumb bitch's head. But he ain't killed nobody. And, you know, it made me upset that you got a bunch of black women celebrating a black man's death. That's just think about that. A bunch of black women celebrating, happy that a black man died. Think about that. But that really happened. And I'm sitting here saying, shit, you see the truth now. You see the truth now. Because any female that clapped or applauded or was happy that he died, that's the female you don't need to be around, homie. Straight up. But it showed me something. It showed me the heart of people. And then this recent situation where a certain individual was dropped by just about every company he had any type of affiliation with or business agreement with. And you see all these black people kind of cheering the fact that he is no longer in business with these people, and these people are dropping him, it seemingly like every day. I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, to a degree, I do understand it because we're talking about an individual who said some hurtful things about black people. You know what I'm saying? To the point to where you realize, is he black himself with some of the things he said? You know what I'm saying? Because believe me, I'm not standing by nothing he said. You know what I'm saying? But there's 2 points of conversation that came out of his mouth that I feel like the black community has turned their back. And a form of turning their back is in the wake of him losing all this business from these various companies. They're now cheering and applauding that. But are we supposed to be cheering and applauding that? Because now there's a whole nother part of that story that's not being pushed in the media. And it's not for me to push it. I'm just saying, if you do your due diligence and do your homework, you'll find out what I'm talking about. And I'm not supporting Duke in any way. You know what I'm saying? I'm just bringing it to a point of conversation. Look at how black people will celebrate the death of someone or the downfall of someone. When is the last time that we saw black people do something positive and we highlighted it, put a spotlight on it, shared it on social media, told a friend or multiple friends about it? It don't happen. It should, but it doesn't. Why is that? If you know the answer to that, leave that one in the comments too. And lastly, something about those tables. They always turn. For everybody out there watching, man, nothing stays the same. Everything changes. You know what I'm saying? That's for, I was in a financial hard spot some years ago. And it looked like it wasn't going to be good for a long time. But eventually I came out of that. And when I came out of that, I had to realize that, you know what? Nothing stays the same, man. You know what I'm saying? You down today don't necessarily mean you're going to be down tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? You might not be where you want to be at this moment. But just know that things will change. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, man, I hope that people who watched can take something out of what I said, apply it to your life, and use it to your benefit. That's what I hope. On behalf of the good people at One Man Records, my name is Cornbread Capone. This is Unpopular Honesty, Season 2. You know what I'm talking about? Until next time, man, peace and love. Because that's what the world needs, man. Peace and love. I'll let y'all next time, man.